I know you had said that I could ask a couple of questions of you. Is
Yeah,
that
you fire away. Fire away.
yeah? There's not too much there. Um,
The pressure.
well, this is a loaded question.
That's
Maybe you
okay.
responded to it, but why did you choose me to interview?
I drew up a short list of 10 people, and you were one of the first people I wrote down. I believe that, or I feel, you might not, but I feel that we come from a similar perspective.
Okay.
I connected with you fairly early on Medium,
Mhm.
and I'm a true believer of never forgetting your roots.
Mhm.
So because I've connected well with you, one of the things that we talked about earlier is you give me a lot of feedback,
Mhm.
and that is something I respect.
Mhm.
So it was a combination of connecting with you really early, really appreciating the type of writing, the type of articles and writing that you do. The fact that we've connected not only on Medium, but also via email as well.
Mhm.
And because I think you are a genuinely nice person, and I
Thank you.
think that you have a really good following who would be interested in our conversation today.
Great.
So I just felt that it would be a perfect scenario. And the other thing I wanted to mention as well is I feel, even though this is the first time we've talked on Zoom,
Mhm.
I feel very comfortable. So I always wanted you to be one of the first. I wasn't sure whether you'd accept the interview, because not a lot of people like being on camera. I didn't when I first started,
Mhm.
but I knew in my heart that it would be a comfortable conversation, that it wouldn't be awkward, and almost you're helping me to a degree as well, because I'm sure that I will come up and I will speak to some people in conversation. It might not flow as well as this one,
Mhm.
so I just feel really comfortable with you.
Another question: how you have a career, you have a wife, you have kids, you're incredibly active on Medium. Here's how I phrased it: how do you find time to sleep, and how do you manage to avoid having a nervous breakdown because you're just so overwhelmed with all the stuff you have to do? That's okay.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I've gotten in. My dad would say I learned to eat gum and walk at the same time. Basically, I sleep for the average sleep I get is around about 4 hours a night. It does vary between 3 and 5.
Oh my God.
Once or twice a month, I will just go flat out for 12 hours straight.
Right. Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. My job, I love my day job. My real job, let's say, I've got an incredibly supportive family who understand. And it's just basically that. I wouldn't be able to do it without my family's support.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I probably do around about 60 hours in my working week, in my full-time job.
Oh my God. Wow.
Obviously then we got day trips out and days off with the girls and my son and my family. I've got some other things that I do outside as well. I'm a landlord, so I've got to look after my 2 properties. As you know, I've got 2 publications. I've got 2 YouTube channels now. So I've got a meditation YouTube channel and of course my Medium YouTube channel. So and I've got the editors and I've got 2 Facebook pages that I'm involved with as well. So it's a lot going on, but
I don't
very
know, it seems
often I'm
impossible,
literally, doing stuff and eating at the same time, or I'm just writing notes down as I'm doing something else. So yeah, I probably need to calm down a bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is impressive. Oh, before you were just asking me for shout outs, and I thought of another couple of names. Certainly Sally Bragg.
Of course.
And then I think I was interviewed by her for another publication before she became an editor for you, Erica.
Yeah, do you know what? Let's just talk about Sally really quickly. Sally was one of the people I connected with fairly early, and she's an original editor for New
Right.
Writers Welcome. I've got a really good relationship with her. We're very honest with each other. I've got a lot of respect for Sally, and she's a dream, an absolute dream to work with. And you mentioned Erica. The only time I've ever been interviewed was by Erica.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
When she asked for the interview, my first thought was, I don't know who you are. Why are you asking me? And then I looked at some of her writing. I was really impressed with it.
Right.
So I was a little bit caged and asked a few questions. And then she delved into the sort of questions she wanted to ask me, which was extremely personal.
Interesting.
But being an open book, I agreed to it. And I felt I was a little bit intimidated. I'll say that.
Okay.
And I feel that she really drew a lot of information out of me. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I thought the questions were spot on. I felt a bit raw with some of the stuff I was saying, but that's the only way I know how to speak. I've got to be honest every single time.
Right. There's another woman, I can't remember her. It's an Indian name, Gurprada or something. I can't remember. It starts with G-U-R.
Yeah, she does.
She interviewed me too.
She does a lot with Illuminations, I believe. She edits for a few publications. And yeah, she's absolutely wonderful. She's always been really kind to me, and definitely a really good writer as well.
Right. I recently had some interactions with, and she seems very nice too, Marilyn Glover.
Yes, of course. Just thinking actually, before we go on to Marilyn, she also did a lot with Coffee Times as well, which was unfortunately they closed, but a really good publication.
I loved Coffee Times.
Yeah, brilliant publication. Really,
loved writing for them.
Shame to see it
close. I also
like
Know Thyself, Heal Thyself, by the way.
I submitted an article to them tonight. So let's see if it gets accepted.
It's a nice pub. Christina, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah. I don't know her that well, but
I don't know her either, but it's a nich pub.
Let's wait and see. The publication is really fantastic. Really
good pub.
Marilyn, yeah, edited for both of my publications. A really good poet, and a great writer as well. But yeah, I've got a lot of love for Marilyn. We speak offline sometimes as well via Facebook. Wonderful. And she's got a kind heart.
Yeah, it just seems very nice. And for every person I mentioned, there are at least 3 other people, like there's at least 20
you could go 25 on.
People
I know.
I could probably think of, which is really fascinating because it's like there are people who are negative, it's like there are people who write negatively about the medium community. I'm thinking, well, I don't need to love everybody. If I could find 20, 30 people who are wonderful people, I'm blessed, It's like I've just 2 other quick things. One thing is not a question. This is about a question about me. Okay. If I would write more frequently, like let's say, if not an article a day, say 20 articles a month, I'm just throwing a figure out there. Do you think I'd be able to make decent money? Like me, I'm talking about even $100. I don't know what the equivalent in British currency is, but I'm talking like $100 a month.
Okay.
Which is it's not great, but it's help, $100, $200 a month.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know why. I guess I kind of do want to make more money, but I don't even know if I would put the articles out there, like whether I would, because maybe people, they read enough of my stuff and I don't know, whatever. Just your thought, honest feelings.
I don't think it's anything to do with your writing at all. It's to do with exposure. If we think about it, I know there's been a lot of writers leave. I don't know exact figures. I haven't got them to hand. But let's say there was 50 million writers on Medium, and then there's only 20 million. There's 20 million writers on Medium. That's a lot of people who could potentially read articles.
Right.
So there's enough people. What I feel is that you don't get enough exposure. And I include myself in that. I could make more money as well. Whether that's to do with, well, it's definitely to do with the way Medium expose writers. Tim Dennin recently wrote saying that he has over 230,000 followers and less than 2% of those followers read his articles, because his articles aren't distributed to all of them. So I think that whilst I love the community of publications, and I'm not a self-publisher, and I've got a lot of reasons why I wouldn't do that, I would always go publication route. I feel that whilst it's good to go to certain publications because you build that community spirit, it's really important that every so often you spread your wings. I said tonight
to more publications.
To more publications. Like I said, tonight I've gone to a publication I've never submitted to before.
Know Thyself, Heal Thyself.
And I'm more conscious of doing that. The first time I did that was probably about 2.5, 3 months ago, when I went to the Writing Cooperative, a huge publication. They're quite hard to get into. I've written 3 articles that have been.
Could you repeat the name of that one again? Which one?
The Writing Cooperative.
Yeah, I know of it. Yeah,
run by Justin. And I think I've submitted 4 articles, and I've had 3 accepted.
That's very good. Yeah.
What I've started to do over the last 2 to 3 months is thought of written an article, but thinking of a publication in mind. So I'm obviously going to write for my 2 publications. I'm obviously going to do that. And there's certain publications that I like to submit articles to. I do go to Illuminations. I go to Writer's Block. I did a lot with Coffee Times as an example. So there's certain publications that I go to. But I'm challenging myself to go to other publications because I need more exposure. So I guess I think that is the key. It's not necessarily writing or titles, it's having the exposure to going outside your current group.
So my question to you, if you can say, or maybe think about it offline and get back to me, I don't want to burden you with too much other stuff, is what publications I only like. I'm not looking to write in a different style. I have no interest in doing that, other than I throw in an occasional humor piece. But what publications do you think would make most sense for me to attempt to get into in order for me to maximize my exposure?
Yeah, no, I agree. I will have to come back to you on that, and I promise you I'll follow up on that question.
Is Illumination good for that? Or I started out writing for Illumination. Everything was accepted. Like, they didn't seem very critical.
You don't tend to get a lot of rejection from them. They accept quite, they're quite broad, let's say. I think the key thing is making sure you definitely publish to the right publication. I agree. I wouldn't change my style. If you do a lot about personal growth, life experiences, I would stick to that, put the odd humor thing in. I think that's great also. I wouldn't specifically change your style to get into a particular publication.
It won't work for me. It's not
gonna work. You would lose your identity as well.
Like, I don't write I don't write listicles. I don't like listicles.
Yeah.
I was fine if other people do. I'm not going to start writing listicles.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not interested.
Let me come back to you on those publications.
Okay.
I tend to stick to around about 4 publications, but once a month, maybe twice a month, I'll just reach out to a publication I don't always write for, just to see if I can get some extra followers, see if I can get some extra people interested in my sort of content. So
okay,
yeah, let me come back to you on it.
Yeah,
but I would definitely suggest. I don't know how many publications you write for. I mean, I've got a list of about 20. I write for about 4 of those.
I don't know. I don't.
You know.
Yeah, I write a lot to Know Thyself, Heal Thyself. There's somebody. Oh, you know who else? I'm sure you know Nancy. I couldn't think of a name earlier. Nancy Blackman.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But she writes a lot. I don't know how she does it. I think she's brilliant. How she could do that, you know. But anyhow, how much can I contribute to New Writers Welcome? Like, how good a fit am I for that?
Yeah, I mean, we only publish 25 articles a day,
Right.
and because as you scroll down the screen, we have 25 big articles, if you like, and then you have little ones underneath that. So we only allow 25 articles per day, and we only allow a person to write one article per day. If you submitted 3 articles and then they were all accepted, we would publish one, and the other 2 would schedule for future days.
So my question is, well, 2 things. One is that besides writing personal growth, I definitely, at least sometimes can come up with good articles to encourage other writers, which is New Writers Welcome. You think it would be a good fit. Also, I think I've submitted a few articles recently, the last month or so, to New Writers Welcome. They've always been published even with the 25 max, they've always been published that day or the next day after, I think, so that's not a problem. So I guess my question is, do you think my articles are a good fit for New Writers Welcome?
Yes,
the personal growth articles, because it's not specific to new writers,
No, so I mean, we have narrowed down on our niches, so to speak.
Okay.
So we allow articles that help new writers on Medium. So we allow Medium articles, tips, tricks, tools, that type of thing.
Well, that's what you're looking for, right?
We allow poems. We allow
Okay.
life stories. We allow mental health.
Right.
And we talk about personal growth stories as well. So we've recently changed some of our submission rules, and there's 6 topics. Health and fitness we allow as well. So there's 6 topics that we will now accept. Otherwise, if it's not part of those topics, we'll politely say thank you for your article. It may be worth self-publishing or publishing in a different publication.
Okay, so my articles, if I had to guess, I'm not going to look at it now. Probably most of my articles get for your publication, get 1,500 claps, maybe 50 reads, 25.
Okay.
That's okay, I guess. There's one other. Okay, I answered that. Are you allowed to? I have like old published articles that never got. I didn't have many followers back then. Is Medium going to not be happy if I deleted? Is it not kosher to delete an old published article?
You can do.
Republish it, and would I don't want to be caught and get in trouble,
You shouldn't delete it, then republish it. That's not something that they like. But what I have seen people do is either write a new article and link some of those older articles within the article.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
So that's a good way of saying, hey, I've written this great story about personal growth, and have you checked out these personal stories about personal growth as well?
Right.
So that's one way of doing it. I'm not a lover of this way, but I have seen people write articles about my best top 10 articles.
I don't think people want to read that much. I don't know.
I'm not a big lover of that, but I do sometimes, well, quite a lot of the time, I'll write an article and I will just link other ones in. I used to add them as a link so you could see the description and the picture. I now tend to hyperlink them instead. So I'll highlight a particular word, bold it and hyperlink it, just to let the reader know that there's another article that.
Do you think most readers are more likely to click on it if it's hyperlinked or if you show the picture? Do you think it matters? Or
I do. I've been given feedback recently of people that using the mobile saying that hyperlinks don't work that well on mobile, and so actually linking the story would be better than the hyperlink. So that's some recent feedback I got from some mobile users on Medium.
Yeah, the only thing I thought about deleting old articles is that some of them is that if I then republished it with a different title and subtitle, and then also I'm gonna change 10 to 20% of the article, because I want to make it better anyhow. I don't see why that would not. No,
it's not something I would do, but I guess it's personal preference. If you look on, if you went to the Medium dashboard now and you had a look down that dashboard, you might notice there's obviously a few tabs across the top. And my default tab, I'm looking at articles, some of them from 2020, 2019. And that is part of the problem that some Medium writers are being vocal about to Medium, is that why are we seeing stories from so long ago? Surely it should be the more recent stories.
That's weird.
Have a look at your dashboard. Have a look at your dashboard when you've got time.
Yeah, I'll check it.
And just look at the tabs across the top, because you will notice there are some really old stories in there. And I'm not sure why Medium are doing that. And I know that, again, some of the top writers have really reached out to Medium to ask them that question.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because every once in a while I get old articles that are being read. I'm thinking, how the heck did I dig that up? You know?
And the problem is, some of those older articles are from writers who have now left Medium. But they're selective. The stories are selective.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something's not quite right at the moment.
Gotcha. And the last question I have for you is, what's the primary reason why you're on Medium?
I'll have to say Zuli Rain.
Excuse me?
Zuli Rain.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I mean, like, what's your motivation for writing?
Well,
or maybe that's
I
the same
had
question,
no motivation for writing at all. I was literally on YouTube surfing one night, come across Zuli. She started talking about Medium and how much money she was making. So I thought, I would like to make that sort of money. So I was first driven to Medium to make money. That was my sole purpose for joining Medium originally.
Okay.
So that was my sole purpose initially. I got really frustrated of writing articles, thinking they were absolutely superb, and every publication was rejecting them.
Right.
That's when New Writers Welcome was born. And
Gotcha.
Now there's two reasons, maybe three. The first reason is because I find it therapeutic, which is why I asked you that question.
Right.
I feel that it gives me a release from normality of a very hectic life, and I feel quite relaxed writing, unless it's really personal. And I've said to you, I can get emotional writing. It depends, because I do write about a lot of different topics. I do things that's quite personal. I've done some soft adult content, let's say. I've tried to write some funny stories, and of course love. I've written about love because of the publication that I've got. And the other thing I write about really is help, tips and tools, because that's what New Writers is about. So I write on Medium for a release. It gets me away from sometimes a hectic life, and no one's life is perfect. Mine certainly isn't. I know, because I've thought about quitting 3 times. I've thought about quitting, and every time I've gone back to, why am I writing on Medium? Are those reasons still relevant to me? And one of the reasons I keep coming back to is I feel that I'm helping other people. I feel that me being on Medium, I feel like I'm providing a service. Now, I don't know whether that's the right way to look at it, but I think if I left Medium and I closed my 2 publications, I think that would affect some writers. I think some writers would be disappointed. So I almost feel a sense of responsibility for my publications and for my writers and readers within those publications. So a bit of a loaded question, a lot of different answers. But I would miss Medium if I left. So my motivation at the moment really is a release. I feel that I add a service, and I help people, and I love the community that I'm in. I feel very, very lucky to have made some good acquaintances, some good friends, and when I log on to Medium, I enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy being on Medium. Well, Art, I must say, to finish off, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for being open and honest.
My pleasure.
For answering all the questions. Thanks for the little interview with me at the end as well. That was a really nice surprise.
You're
a gentleman, you're a scholar. Thank you for being a friend and I've really enjoyed the interview. So thank you very much for your time, and I shall speak to you very soon, my friend.
Yes, you are definitely. I definitely consider you a friend.
Good.